Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer. I was a little confused on whether this was a study session or a regular meeting. I think it's both today. So I'm going to say the prayer because I didn't get it faster today.
It's happened to me.
Yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity to serve the people of Reno County. We ask for your guidance in the decisions we make today and the decisions we make in our lives. We thank you for this time that we can serve, and we just thank you for this day again. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Welcome everybody again. This is a split session. It looks like we're going to have a regular meeting here and do a work session afterwards. Don't have a timing on the work session. We'll just start that after our meeting. So is there anyone here for items not on the agenda today that'd like to speak? Hearing none, does the commission have any additions or revisions to the agenda?
I have one, Commissioner. It's my understanding that work sessions aren't recorded. I would like us to reconsider that and record the work session as well this afternoon.
Okay. Do we have any technical issue with doing that today?
Not technical, it'll take staff time to stay here, and that's kind of what it does. And then, of course, it means it's permanently recorded, so any frank discussions, people may be less willing to make comments. That's the concern about it.
Unless the commission disagrees, let's put that as item 7D, and we'll have a discussion on that policy and have Randy explain what we've done in the past, and if there's a motion to do that, we can take one for sure. Is that okay? Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Weitzel. Any other additions? Hearing none. The consent agenda has 2 items on it today. Randy, do you have anything to say there?
No, these are just the weekly bills and then the minutes for January 9th, 20th, and 24th for approval.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented by staff.
Commissioner Hurst moves. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Parks. Discussion on the consent agenda.
The only item I had that I had a question about, and obviously we've already promised them this money, but Startup Hutch in their I guess note to the commission or whatever, they said that they'd be willing to to come before us again about what they're doing about their mission, and so I'd like to possibly in the future set up a time for them to come by, because I don't really know a whole lot about them, and $80,000 is a lot of money.
Okay.
So
Randy, are they scheduled quarterly or?
I don't know if we have a kind of a set schedule, but I know Jackson has said he would be willing to come quarterly, semi-annual, and they will be doing the budget presentation probably later this year, in the spring.
This is
Go ahead.
just for way of information, this is a partnership between the City of Hutch and the Hutchinson Community Foundation and the county, and that's where this came from originally. And yes, he does make presentations. So,
okay.
And to stop by 11th of May sometime and visit with Jackson too. That's in your busy time. But yeah, he does a pretty good job presenting.
Okay.
We'll make sure he gets on the agenda in the next few months. Does that sound good?
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other comments? Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hurst,
Yes.
Commissioner Parks,
Yes.
Commissioner Bogner,
Yes.
Commissioner Weitzel,
Yes.
Commissioner Friesen,
Yes. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, business items. Item 7A was tabled from January 24th. It's the interfaith housing subrecipient agreement. Randy, do you have any comments on that? And I think Commissioner Brooks, did you have a proposed amendment on that?
Well, I think we redrafted the amendment a little bit, but
Right, so Commissioners, there, in your packet, there's the original agreement that you reviewed at the last meeting, and then there's an alternate that had some word changes that Clint and Patrick and Kennedy with iParametrics worked to kind of try to, I think, get a little bit closer to what Commissioner Parks was looking for. I don't know if we went all the way, but it does have to where money, do you want to?
Well, I mean, in Clinton, it's a revolving, yeah, we created, what we did with the tweak would be to make it more of a revolving fund, so that as that program, the original money goes through, does its initially intended rehabilitations, and then it just kind of stays separate from the rest of Interfaith's budget as kind of its own revolving fund. Clint, is that?
Yeah, Clint Nelson, President and CEO of Interfaith Housing. Correct, yeah, last couple of weeks, opportunities to speak to a couple of commissioners. I know Randy and Patrick got me some concerns. So yeah, we would separate these these proceeds from acquisition rehab into a specific reserve, and then these would be utilized to revolve with light projects, all with the intent of being homebuyer units and remaining on the tax roll. So I believe that was one of the concerns, and we were in full agreement with that. In fact, that was kind of the tone of our original proposal a year ago. So we like that.
Clint, never mind. The other change to that one is it specifies owner-occupied residences for that program, whereas before it had some different language that was a little bit looser. It's the alternate agreement says that program is for owner-occupied rehabilitation of housing. So it's up to the commission which options you guys want to discuss and pass, but we have both those available, I guess.
So we have the original and then we have the amended.
What I call 1A, is that what we,
Yeah, I
is
believe
the
so.
original that was presented at the last meeting. The one that has these changes we just discussed is called 1B, just for clarification if you guys make a motion.
Commissioner Weitzel?
So the only question I had was on 1B, I think it's like the fifth word, equitable. What criteria do you use in figuring out what's equitable? Because that's kind of a hot topic word sometimes, and so.
Yeah, absolutely. So originally, when we wrote this proposal, I think disbursement of these funds, and even looking at populations throughout the county, I think rural communities are very much underserved in housing work and have been. And so making sure that a significant portion of the overall fund is set aside for rural communities. Beyond that, this fund does not require us to specifically target elderly, disabled, very low income. So I think we can consider all qualified projects.
I've got one, just curiosity. Patrick, maybe you can help on this, but in the regular contract, item 33 states that any unused funds will be paid back to the county. In the last sentence of 1B program summary, it says the unused funds will be utilized for future housing. It's my paraphrasing. Is that contradictory to each other?
I need to find where you're at. I don't think the county's only reimbursing, we're what funds we don't, you're talking about the funds that they get are going to stay.
Funds that the ARPA funds are given out, if they're not spent within, I think we talked about 6 months before the end of 26, that they would then revert back to the county to be utilized in areas that the commission decided.
So the county, the way these ARPA agreements are, we're not just writing the $4 million check to the entity. Reno's retaining the funds and then paying it out to them as they make progress on things. So if there's a balance that there could be a balance that never gets paid out. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Randy. Yeah. So if they never provide us with documentation for the last $1 million, then we're going to review it in June of 2024 and say, we had budgeted $4 million, but they've only spent $1 million so far. We need to do a reallocation, or whatever the case is. The idea of the 1B kind of says, of the money that they get that they use the first time, they're going to keep it separate, and it doesn't come back to the county, but they keep it as a separate program. So
Okay,
but
interpretation that I was trying to get.
the first paragraph of all of our ARPA agreements is very important in that it has the tie. We start both of them. This is every ARPA agreement we're doing. Starts with a time of performance, and it clearly sets out in all of them the same review in June 30th of 2024. That's when we're going to look and see, are these programs happening? Are they happening fast enough that we think they're going to spend all the money?
Commissioner Weitzel, are you done? Okay. Commissioner Parks, you have?
No, that's kind of where we're at. Well, I knew it was locked in. We couldn't really change it. I just wanted to make sure we maximize those dollars, much like the SCED program and a rollover program to get home or occupied. I think that's the end goal anyway, is to have quality housing that people can move into, Glad, and I appreciate you going along with that and accepting that. So,
Commissioner Bogner?
Well, I was concerned about getting a percentage of it, or a decent percentage of it, to the rural areas when we visited, and the way I see it written, they've taken that into consideration. So
I appreciate the fact that it was included in infrastructure as well as HVAC could be included in that.
Is there a motion to approve the item 7A?
I'll motion to approve as presented in 1B.
Okay. Commissioner Weitzel motions to approve the revision 1B for interface. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by Commissioner Bogner. Final discussion on this item. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hurst,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark,
yes.
Commissioner Bogner,
Yes.
Commissioner Weitzel,
Yes.
Commissioner Friesen,
Yes. Motion passes 5-0. Item 7B similarly is the subrecipient agreement for the United Way. And they've done $4.5 million for child care. Randy, was there any adjustments to this one?
So, excuse me, after, I believe Denise with United Way, after talking with a few commissioners, they made a revision to their budget that is in here. If you guys want to consider that, the alternative is switch some of the numbers. I believe it, well, Denise, can you explain what that change was?
So one of the concerns was that we were not providing enough in sustainability to providers, so we bumped that up. And then the innovative and expansion models, we are still going to hire a person to help drive this work, but having it come out of the innovation and expansion will give us more flexibility as far as salary and what type of person that we can hire.
Discussion?
Flexibility meaning getting that position for less money rather than more.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Commissioner Parks, do you have anything on this?
No, yeah, you kind of addressed that. I had the questions, and I know we visited Denise and of the sustainability of this program long term. I know the goal is to bring some business involved in this for your cooperative pool that you wanted to set up, but I mean, I always fear that we set something up for failure if it's not reimbursable and continues to have deposits into that. And we talked about some criterias to people that qualify for these programs, and of course I expressed my concerns that you just can't help everyone sometimes. You really can't. And my position was obviously a little different than what some were on this, but I'll leave it at that. I appreciate you working with the commission to make some changes.
Commissioner Hurst?
Well, and first off, I want to say that yesterday afternoon with a Zoom meeting with the task force, I call it, was extremely good in communication with the health department. I thought it was really good. I made a comment yesterday that maybe that's a good thing to have every once in a while, because the people that were actually involved in child care, not only in this task force program, but actually involved in child care, had a really good conversation and conversation with the inspectors, as well as an excellent job with the people that were going out and doing the contract inspections for the state. And I firmly believe we need to stay local, and I hope that they will do that. In my opinion, I'm not the director, but I hope that will continue in that fact. And I was also playing around a little bit with numbers here too, and my main concern was that the child care program have developed the co-op, and to have a director or someone responsible to do the real legwork and the real work and looking at grants and so forth. I think that was a real need and a necessary to have that position. And if this alternative will allow a little more flexibility in their ability to hire a person, then I think that's probably a good way to go. Because it is support, no matter which way you look at it, it's support for all the child care facilities and people wanting to get started. And so I'm pleased with that.
Commissioner Whitson?
So I spent a lot of time on this since we last met, and came to some different conclusions. Talked to, I believe it was Mr. Bradford that did the study, and so the position that I think he had envisioned was different than at least it was presented to me. So kind of to give you a little history on me, and so now I understand this better, and maybe this will help you, maybe it won't. But so I was the director of training for a franchise, and one of the things that I would do is I would go around and open new stores. You know, we'd hire the manager, we'd hire the crew, we'd set the culture, and then we'd leave after a couple of months and let it run on its own. And so that director position, he said, yeah, that's just a 2 or 3 year position. Somebody that has done this somewhere else with a proven track record of success, come here, help get it set up, and then they leave. He said that's a 2-3 year position. He said that's not what I had in mind for somebody to run a co-op or anything like that. And those positions take money because it's somebody that has a proven track record. They're on a temporary contract, and so they've got to uproot, knowing they're going to leave in 2 to 3 years. And so that actually made a lot of sense to me. So that the co-op thing and talking to a lot of child care providers, that seemed to be a huge benefit to a lot of them. A lot of them thought it would. And then I talked to some people here in town that set up those sorts of things, and the prices proposed for the stuff that we were wanting to do really were not out of line with what's in the private industry. So there's that. And then the third thing he said was, somebody to run a co-op, that's not a $90,000 a year job. he said that's, who knows what it'll be in 26, but he said that, yeah, that's not anywhere near that salary. And so, and then the question comes, who hires the person, who has input in it and stuff like that. So there was that with the funding. So I did apologize to you because after I did some research, this really didn't seem that far out of line. I also was able to visit with the inspectors for a little bit, and at least what they had indicated to me was that they are on board with being an ally rather than an adversary, because in talking to child care providers, that was one of the things they said is, if you call these people up for help, they're going to come by the next day and do a surprise inspection on you and dock you for the things that you just called them for help on. So time will tell, but it seems like maybe the culture is changing with that, and so I would be very, very happy if that was the case. I'm sure if it's not, the child care providers I talk to will give me a call. So yeah, I'm okay with spending this money this way now. I guess in a short, just to summarize what I just said, but yeah, but I think sustainability is the key here, because if we just spend a bunch of money on something, then in 4 years it's going to be gone. So we need something that we can sustain and that we can use to help grow this in our county.
So I just want to make a note. We're already looking at different ways for long-term sustainability. I'm part of our task force and leadership team. That is their job, to specifically look at how do we move forward and sustain for our child care providers. So.
Thank you, Commissioner Weitzel. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly on the sustainability part. I think there was some questions initially about the amount of administrative costs associated with the project, but at the same time, you can't really build the structure for sustainability without that. And I was reminded as well that the administrative costs are the hardest portion for any nonprofit to raise. So I think between United Way and Community Foundation, they can find further funding for the fun part of this, which is actually the impact part for child care. And so I think we're putting the right proportion here to work. So I would agree with all of the comments here. Is there a motion to approve?
Well, I was going to say one more comment. I might just reiterate, albeit, as I said before, I respect the work that went into this to getting it done. I know there's a lot of projects up and coming, and I'd be remiss if I didn't repeat my position that I feel like some of the funds in the ARPA should have probably went to some of these capital outlay projects, whether we approve this or don't approve this. And so that's just, I want people to know that, because we have some big things coming up this couple of miles to fix. And so I know we have needs in the community with both these things from interfaith and the child care. And so that's why my concerns about what we did with it, if we're going to go forward with it. And so, but I just want to state my position, and I'll leave it be.
Thank you, Commissioner Parks.
Another one. Who's going to make the decision on who to hire for that person to organize it?
So that will be made by the leadership team. Right now it's a group of 9. We need to build that out to maybe 12 more to make sure we add a rural voice to that group, and then a parent. So we want to make sure that everybody's represented.
I think Bradford had a good point that it should be standalone in itself and to be able to function with the leadership committee, because they're the ones that know child care, and that shouldn't be maybe necessarily associated with the county, that even though this ARPA is a one-time fund, that they're the ones that know the business.
there a motion to approve?
I so move to approve the ARPA subsidiary agreement with United Way of Reno County for $4,500,000 for child care.
Commissioner Hurst moves. Is there a second? I'll second that. Final discussion?
Which, there are two budgets, the original one and then the revised. Which one is this motion for?
May I add the revised
Okay.
budget to that motion?
Okay, and I concur, second
So,
that.
thanks, Randy.
Discussion, any final discussion? I think we've done pretty well.
So the, just to clarify, originally you had talked about, this being a 4-year position. So the hiring of this coordinator, what are your goals with that, and what is what is the term length and things like that you guys are looking at?
So this would be a contracted position for just the time that we have the ARPA funds. And so there would be no promises beyond that as far as how the development would go. So
Okay.
that is what they would be responsible for, is the development of the childcare work as far as establishing a co-op and helping get those things off the ground.
Okay, and are we going to look with somebody that has done this before? Like, is that going to be a criteria?
That would be the goal, yes.
Okay.
No, nothing else. I don't want to go back and forth with you, Commissioner Parks, but your point on, where to spend this money, I completely recognize 3 commissioners have no advantage of all of the time and information that the county spent on this. I think we had 28 different community conversations on what to do with ARPA funding, and the top number one issue was, help with childcare. It's kind of a critical component of growing our economy and fixing some of the challenges we have in our community. And so I think we looked at it as once in a lifetime opportunity to fund this problem, and it's a little easier to fund capital projects over time than it is to do this again. So that was where I think the original intent was, but I certainly respect your opinion on it as well.
Yeah, I had a telephone call yesterday regarding a person that almost didn't take a job here because of problems with childcare, and a professional. And so I think that's important, that we not only look at the opportunities for professional leadership, but also just blue collar workers have that ability. And I think this will help a lot get started and get the foundation going. We'll see what happens from there.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hurst.
Yes.
Commissioner Parks.
Yes.
Commissioner Bogner.
Yes.
Commissioner Weitzel.
Yes.
Commissioner Friesen.
Yes. Motion passes 5-0. Thanks, Denise.
Thank you.
Commissioner, I might comment that there's a lot of interest out in the rural areas of doing this. Really good project going on, thinking about it in Pretty Prairie. And I know I've talked to superintendent, not a superintendent, but a board member of Nickerson, that they're looking at what they can do. So there's a lot of interest just outside of the rural area, and I want to make sure that continues.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Hurst. Item 7C, Brady and I got our wires crossed. I was going to put this in the work session unless there's objection. We'll drop this into the work session, the commission goals and priorities. Is that okay? So, item 7D is a request by Commissioner Weitzel to discuss the county's policy on recording or not recording study sessions. Commissioner Weitzel, would you like to?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think if we're going to be transparent and going to want the public to trust us, then they ought to be able to view, especially from the standpoint that a lot of people in the community are working while we're meeting. And so maybe it would be different if it was after hours and more people could attend, but there's a lot of people that just simply can't because they're working. And so maybe they would like to watch afterwards and kind of see what went on, especially if, you know, something comes out of that. And so I think a culture of transparency is better than, you know, than people not being able to find out what happened because they have to work.
Randy, would you just brief us on past history and maybe if this is a written policy or kind of?
Yeah, I don't think it is a written policy. Kind of the practice is that study sessions are open to the public, they just aren't televised. One reason is a lot of times the study sessions are on different days of a meeting, and then we have to bring in staff and make sure all the audio visuals working correctly. Also, but we have recorded a couple high-profile items in the past. The ARPA study sessions, when we had anything about ARPA, we wanted to record that for, I guess, backup if we ever get audited. We can show the federal government what was done in a commission meeting or study session. The same with environmental health, because that had been discussed for many years about the process. When we had a study session last year, we did televise that to keep a permanent record of that. But in general practice, we don't do study sessions televised. Like when we had a study session on the budget workshops in the past, we don't televise those because we're getting more into the weeds and on conversations, and it's the chance for staff and commissioners to have disagreements and debates without it being front page news, even though the media is, of course, welcome and anyone in the public is welcome to sit in.
Randy, you came from Finney County. They had a 5-person commission. What was their policy over there?
When I was there, they didn't televise their commission meetings even, but study sessions were completely separate. They weren't televised.
And Patrick, what's been your experience in other commissions?
You know, I was thinking about this a little bit. I mean, it's up to you guys. There's no law on it. So. But I go to about 75 to 90 public meetings a year that I have for the last few years, and I've seen everything from recording everything to not recording everything. I guess the goal of a study session, part of the idea is to roll up your sleeves, sometimes literally, and kind of get through things. I'm a big believer in videoing agenda meetings and because I've had in the past where people who weren't at the agenda meeting talk about what was said and they get it wrong, you know, even if the media's not there. But generally speaking, study sessions that I've been have not been televised, but that's a chance for everyone to kind of ask, frankly, questions that they, dumb questions or learn things and be a little bit looser and get a little bit more editorial. But then when you guys vote on things, you usually have a chance to explain your position to the public. I mean, you always have that opportunity to say, I'm voting this way, why? And also at a study session, the one thing that is legally important is we don't take a final action ever. So even if you feel like you leave the study session knowing exactly what you're going to do, you still have an opportunity to change your mind, clarify your thinking before the actual agenda meeting where it happens. And frequently I've seen a governing body member leave the study session with one idea, do their own research, and come back and be exactly 180 degrees different when they actually vote. And so I think that's important that they have the space and room to do that. But I mean, it's not like it's bad to do it one way or good the other way. It will just changes the tenure of things and the flexibility to some extent.
I might suggest we're going in a little different order on how we have a conversation about this. I'd like Commissioner Hurst to start, and I'll go second, just because we've had some experience on the board already and talk about our experience, and then allow the rest of the commission to go. But Commissioner Hurst, what's your thoughts on
I've had one request that the work sessions be televised. I have mixed feelings on it. I do think that we can get into the nitty-gritty and not have the public take a different idea than what we really are trying to get at. An opportunity to so-called take sides, if you will, and a misinterpretation from the public about why and how we're doing things. That is probably my biggest objection to having televised, even though I think you bring up a very good point, John, the transparency. But I think that transparency can be held at the regular session when things are decided upon, that are summaries, and I think that's a very good point that Patrick brought up, is, I've changed my mind before and had to completely switch 180 degrees from what I originally thought. And I think we all can have an opportunity to do that at some time. But much as I like the transparency of it, I feel that we can ourselves go out and explain to the different communities what we're looking at, not necessarily to get into all the reasons why, but just a 30,000 feet summary of what we're looking at as a commission and as a county, for the county. And I've done that at several of my communities, Turon, Sylvia, Pretty Prairie, even Haven, when I was there. And I think that's our good opportunities to go explain what we're looking at, with getting into the complete, full explanation. So I think it's worked good in the past, that we've had really good, serious discussion and good debates. I won't say arguments, but good debates upon that.
So, I fully believe in transparency and agree with the premise of what you're suggesting, Commissioner Weitzel. I can say it sets a very high bar for this commission. I think if you look at the legislature or other entities, there's a lot of conversations that are made that aren't fully recorded. I think recording the conversation does change the tenor of this group. It's just a fact. There's a hesitancy to fully speak your mind in an effort not to say the wrong thing that gets recorded for all time and then published in the news. And so I think what occurs because of that is there's some things that just aren't said. With a 5-person commission, I think we have a little better chance because we can have conversations amongst each other in some respects and have more frank conversations. We couldn't do that as a 3-commission, and there were just things that, there were multiple times where I wanted to have a very frank conversation with one of the commissioners, and it just wasn't appropriate to have on a recorded public line, and so just it never was had. And so I think there are some costs and benefits to this. Am I gonna fight this if the majority of the commission wants it that way? No, I don't think it's that big a deal, but I think there's some advantages to loosening the formality of the meeting in a study session, and I think Patrick's point of creating a policy, if it's not one, to not make binding decisions in study session makes a big difference as well. So those are my thoughts from my time here. Commissioner Boatner, you want to go next?
Well, my only thought would be that should, in some planning, we want to start discussing some contractors' figures and things like that, we wouldn't be able to do it because it's common knowledge to the public then, and you would put him at a very strong disadvantage, and once you do that a time or two, if I were a contractor, I'd be very reluctant to let my thinking and my figures go out there for somebody else to use or make decisions on. I could see that as being a problem if we wanted to frankly talk to each other about certain cuts or certain things that we see. I guess we can do that if we want to, but I guess look at your own family. There's some things you don't say in public, and there's other things you sit down at the breakfast or supper table and you have a frank discussion about things, and that's where it stays. So I feel that we might lose some of that ability, and whatever we discussed, if we're going to act on it, it's going to be in the public forum soon enough. And I'd let that be my thought.
If I may, and Patrick, you can correct me on this, but anything that is submitted to us is public record, right?
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's one of the protected areas where we can go into executive session.
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking, but I do think there are times, to Don, I hadn't thought about Don's point, there are times sometimes when not in a binding way, but a staff member might say, I think so-and-so will, this is what I expect it will cost us, and so we won't have, like, if it's a binding figure or goes through a bid, obviously that's for sure going to be public or something to spend, but you might get there might be a little bit of a sense of where some things go from an employee that wouldn't be binding. It would just be kind of like this. And I think that's kind of what it gets in the study session. You kind of say things that you think are, you may not be 100% firm on, but you have a pretty good sense that you might be more willing to do that in a study session.
And also, any member of the public is willing to, or is able to come in and record a study session, right?
That's true, yeah, and that's true. And anymore, who I always kind of wonder if I'm being recorded anywhere I'm at, because of, so that, that's the other points. Those are true.
And another thing I think is, we try to be really respectful of, individual employees.
Executive session.
At the same time, there's a limit of what we can do in executive session, especially when we start talking about a full department. And those are sensitive, and if somebody wants to come and take the time to sit here and listen to those conversations, I think that's one thing. If you want to record it, you just again, some of these conversations just may not be had. And so there's really a balancing act here on what we do. But Commissioner Parks?
Well, I agree, the transparency, several of us have talked about that already. I'm that kind of person that wants transparency with all of us, but in the reality is there's certain things all of us have we don't share with others. Probably don't know the intents of my thoughts sometimes, and they surface later, but the reality of even bids and things like that, it could be a departmental or things in the planning and upcoming, and I know we've talked about this before the first of the year in another session where we may look at services that the county provides and to have that recorded. The only downside to that, John, might be there too. You might have employees running scared, wondering what you're going to do in their department. It ain't necessarily a ploy to remove a bunch of employees, but it may be something that we're looking at that, that's departmental here and there that we would like to talk to department heads about. And I agree with transparency 100%. I would hope that I am with the public, with Randy, with Patrick, and the rest of you commissioners as well, at any time. And I intend to be that way myself, just so I might say publicly, meetings that I go to with people within my district or even outside of it. And I would hope that would be the mood of the rest of the commission as well. So whatever the commission decides to do in this issue, I'm absolutely, as Daniel stated, I'm absolutely fine with, and I understand your concerns because I have those very concerns coming in as a commissioner, that we do things that the general public absolutely can have confidence in what we do. And so,
You know, you brought out something about the employees thing, and we had a very open discussion in the agenda session when we reviewed the pay scale and how we were going to do that. That was a very open, very questionable discussion on different things. And, you know, sometimes we missed some things, and sometimes we got some things right on that. But that was all done in an open session, even though we had a packet ahead of time to review and study. And Patrick, there's one thing, dude, I had a copy inside my well, we used to do it all by paper, okay? But in my commissioner that had a copy of the 7 things that we could go into executive session for. And that might be good we could all know those things sometime, but I had it written down inside mine. And so we brought up executive sessions, so.
And yeah, there's 3 that we usually use are legal issues, non-elected personnel, and every once in a while real estate acquisition. There are 4 other ones, but I can't remember if I've ever used them.
They were used.
But most of our contracts, are public for a reason. We're very transparent at how much people bid. That's the way government works. So that's already out there.
Mr. Weitzel, I might propose something to you here. I think what you brought forward is in direct relation to our work session that's about to occur. I think there may be a separate item where we could work with staff on an official policy on what we do with work sessions, and we could bring that up separately back to this commission at a later date. But if your primary goal is to record the work session today, you could offer a motion to do that, and then we could work on putting an agenda item for the official policy going forward.
Yeah, so there wasn't anything particular with this work session that I thought, hey, this needs to be on tape. I just, maybe I'm a little bit different, but, I've never mind being recorded, and I always mind. And so maybe I'm a little bit different there. But, the goal with the Kansas Opens Meetings Act was that everything that we say and do that is concerning county business, whether we vote or not, be public. Now, in this age, public means being able to go watch a video on it of what happened because I was at work. And so I just think if we're going to create a culture of transparency, we need to be transparent. And if we're not, then, then the people that vote not to be transparent, then they'll be on record voting to not record, public meetings. So, and I would like to stress too that literally anybody can come into the work study session and record it. Any of the commissioners could record it. I could get out my phone and record it, and there's nothing that any of us can do about it because that's the law. And so it's, I guess, ease of access is my big thing. And, who's going to really watch it? Nobody unless it affects them, probably. But, the fact that it's out there, I think, would show the people of Reno County that, hey, we want to be transparent in everything we do, not just in the meetings where we're voting on stuff. So that's my spiel, and there are exceptions for things that the legislator said, hey, these things probably don't need to be public because they're sensitive things, and so we do have those options as well.
would you like to make a motion?
Yeah, I would like to make a motion that work sessions be recorded in the future.
Commissioner Wetzel motions, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Second by
Let's see where it goes.
Commissioner Parks. Discussion? I would be much more in favor of a motion that records today's meeting and then a policy be drafted and circulated and an agenda item be placed on it. Right now, you've created quite a permanent item in that motion that I don't think we've taken the time to create a full policy for.
I think also it gives the time for our administrator to, if we decide to do this as a permanent basis, it gives the administrator and IT department time to schedule their appointments and things rather than just automatically today. They have a workload that's pretty high.
I mean, we can always come back and change the motion later if there's no information presented, but.
Well, I would motion to amend your motion to record today's session and then bring forward a policy after staff has had time to review and present a suitable policy for your request. Is there a second on that amendment?
That what I would second that as well.
Second on the
Your
amendment?
amendment, yes.
To record today's session
Yes.
and then develop
Get
the
it.
policy.
Move in a direction here.
I want to know time-wise where we're at with regard to having a person here for the next 2 hours or so. It's busy and it's not planned, and that's my question.
The look he has is like, I'm gonna do whatever Randy tells me to do.
IT is very busy. There's a lot of projects going on with IT. I mean, they're probably somewhat understaffed, but will they do it? Of course, IT, and the county will record if needed. It's just really what you guys want to do on that.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second on amendment. We're discussing the amendment right now. Is there any other discussion so we can?
Well, I think if we do it today, we see how it goes, and maybe that'll give further entrance into what we want to do in the future, whether we want to or nix this program. And that's the only reason I'm moving that way, perhaps, is to see the mood of what happens in the meeting. I suspect full well that the board's mood is probably not to accept doing this, and that's perfectly fine too. But if there's adequate time and we feel like we should go ahead and go for it and have somebody record it today, I too have no problem being transparent or saying whatever I need to say in front of cameras, but I'm not sure that's completely the issue. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not.
Okay, I'm going to get it moving. So roll call on the amendment, please.
Commissioner Hurst,
Guess, not against transparency, but I'm just saying no, just because of the planning time. I'm in favor.
Commissioner Parks,
I'll say yes.
Commissioner Bogner,
And I need a point of clarification here because we're voting on an amendment.
Yes.
So the motion to actually do something is forthcoming. So you can agree to the amendment. That doesn't actually take any action yet.
Right.
I'll say yes.
Commissioner Weitzel, Commissioner Friesen,
Yes, motion passes 3-2. So the Commissioner Weitzel's motion is amended. Can we read? Do you have it? Or you want me to
That's your
try it?
shorthand.
you want yours read? The amendment,
The amended motion.
Motion as amended.
motion to amend to just record today's meeting, then draft a policy to go further.
That's pretty good shorthand. Okay, so that is the motion we're going to vote on now, unless there's any other discussion on this item. So just to be clear, the motion we're about to vote is to record the study session, instruct staff to draft a policy with staff input, commission input on recording study sessions in the future. Is everybody on the same page on what we're about to vote on? Commissioner Hurst, you good? Okay.
Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hurst,
Same reason, I guess, no.
Commissioner Parks,
Yes.
Commissioner Bogner,
Yes.
Commissioner Weitzel,
Yes.
Commissioner Friesen,
Yes, motion passes 4-1.
Which I don't have any problem with that, I just.
No, I get it. Okay, let's take about a 9-minute break, come back at 10:05.